Earlier this summer, I had the lovely chance to take some voiceover classes and get into the idea of crafting character voices. And primarily, the class focused on how to audition, because auditioning is the best, or and probably the most important part of getting a role. Because if you can't audition well, then the industry doesn't want to pick you up. If you are turning in things that are not to the expectation that producers and casting people are looking for, then you will not be getting voice jobs. Unfortunately, you could have a very, very good voice and just not be delivering things, and maybe you don't act. Maybe because what I've heard and what I learned in that class is that one of the goals of an audition is listening not only to the type of voice that somebody has naturally, but also, can they deliver something with some kind of an emotion? Can they pick something up and make it fun? Make it interesting? Can they put some kind of spin into the words instead of it just being a voice that you're reading monotonously and just kind of saying the words in a gravelly tone? Because anybody could do that. So, can you act? Luckily for me, I went to a theater school. I did acting back in high school. I was in some plays. I have a little bit of kind of improv-y experience. I wouldn't say that I am any kind of a professional or necessarily a trained actor, because I have seen what an actual actor goes through to get into a role, and I honestly don't think that I might have gone through that process once, but that wasn't enough for me. So maybe that's one of the things that holds me back, I think, in getting into voiceovers, that I haven't actually done a lot of character studies on my own as an actor, let alone being a voiceover actor. You see what I'm saying? So, it would maybe behoove me to take some more time to engage that way and see what we get. I've been told that my voice is widely marketable. There's a lot that can be done with it, especially when I am doing the emotions and the slithering tones and the really big deep voices and the very deep things. That's all well and good, but I don't crafting that into a demo reel, crafting that into something that seems approachable. Like the thing about demo reels that I've also been told is that you don't need them as long as you think you do. Like, you need them to get the work, but once agents and producers know your voice, they'll send you auditions. They don't need to hear it a billion times. They don't need to hear a reel that kind of, like, it might be useful for somebody who doesn't know you yet. You know what I'm saying? But like the goal is to get the work. The demos are a demo. It doesn't have to be work that you're then demonstrating. It's a demo to get the work. Which is a cycle that I have been caught in for a very long time. And being like, well, how do I make my voiceover demos sound like I've been in the business? You're not going to, first of all. My first experiences with doing demos, I tried to do them myself a couple of months ago. I did like over 100 of them and narrowed it down to like my 30 best ones, and I put music behind every single one of them. I had a custom script that kind of worked. But ultimately, the words that I was using and the, I think, lack of intention and lack of emotion in some of the delivery kind of pulled it back a little bit. It's like, this guy has a voice, but like, is he really throwing his weight around? Because like, anybody could do a luxury read, and like, if you wanted to do like, I was doing perfume ads, so I was getting into this, like, the perfume by Etoile d'Or, like something kind of breathy like that. you really have to warm up and get into that kind of headspace before you can just like dry read it. And I was trying to do them like in one take and do as many as possible, and wasn't really even spending the time to play around with the read a little bit, to chew on the words a little bit and figure out the resonances of which the delivery seems to work for the character. You see what I'm saying? Like there's like a whole shape of the head and the sinuses and things that go into that whole thing that make a voice work. You see? It's all mechanical. And if you don't know what your machine is doing, then you're not going to know what to do when to do it. You see what I'm saying? One goal that I've been maybe thinking about working towards is borrowing from a famous voice actor. I can't remember his name right now, but he had a color code system in his head, basically, for what voices sounded like what. And, he had yellow voices and green voices and blue voices. Blue is always very sad and very, and purple is even more, like more of a mysterious thing. And orange is like all the way, like it's violent. It's like, whoa, I'm orange, man. Like a hazard, dude. Like watch out. And yellow is more of like a, hi, I'm a yellow. I'm like all the way up here. And the one color he didn't like to use was red. He thought that red was too brash. Pick a different color. I can't use red. He had a reason for that, and it was very emotional, and about why he even became a voiceover actor in the first place. He thought, as a kid, he was so used to having his voice taken away. He felt very disempowered in a lot of situations, and sadly, I kind of resonate with just a little bit of that. So, but I'm working through it, and the more I practice this whole kind of setup and getting my wiring and my comfort zone, and using my voice towards a goal, the less resistance I feel internally to do what I'm doing now, which is internally, like I'm aware that I'm recording myself and I'm not trying to get into my head while I'm talking. That is a very crazy skill to get around. It takes a lot of comfort. You kind of have to let go and stop listening to your own voice necessarily, and just let the words kind of come out and come to you. After watching Bo Burnham's Inside, where he has that bit where he has a camera watching himself, that kind of thing, you start to realize the nature of what actors kind of go through in order to do the work that they do. You have to take a whole step back from the person that you're being, because you are Bobby Joe playing Jekyll. You know what I'm saying? But what does Bobby Joe do as this character? Or what does this character do through me? You see what I'm saying? The same thing pretty much applies to voice acting, is the long and short of it, really. So those are the most important tips I think that I've learned so far. And it's really helped, I think, my own even speaking ability and personal confidence, and being able to interact even on an imaginative level, going through a class like that and reading a script and being like, okay, cold, I need to come up with a character. I have like 5 minutes. Let's hear this in my head. What does my head hear? What do I think this is supposed to sound like? Let's deliver it that way and see if that works. Yeah. And if you hear that back, one of my favorite questions that my instructor asked me, she asked this every time you did a take, basically, was, what'd you hear and what'd you think? And you really got to like let yourself go through that reflection process when you hear something and go, what did I like about that? What did I not like about that? And both of those questions really have to be equal in terms of your spiritual reaction to both of those, because a lot of people go, I didn't like this and I didn't like that, and this is no good, and I'm going to forget the whole thing. I'm going to walk away. I can't deal with this. This is overwhelming. But, if you did like something, even just a tiny little bit of it, those things matter just as much as the things that like you didn't like, right? So the challenge really is giving yourself that kind of grace and that space to say, all right, this is what I'm looking for. Let's move in that direction. You see what I'm saying? So with that, I think that's my pontification for right now. And I'm going to keep learning stuff, and I'm going to keep practicing being a cool voiceover presenter, and maybe I'll keep talking about sound and engineering and the tech, and doing some other stuff with my voice for healing. One of the things that some people have asked me to maybe do is like a sleep podcast where I would get very like calm and very like, hi, my name is Will. Welcome to a sleep podcast from me. You see what I'm saying? We'll see if I get that far. Anyway, thank you.